Yeah, good morning, Paul. And reopening doesn't mean that this virus isn't a serious problem anymore. And that's been the ongoing complaint online in the areas that have already entered stage 2. Fewer people wearing masks, not respecting physical distancing. Now, in the UK, they're adopting the 1 meter rule, down from 2 meters, which is recommended by the World Health Organization. But Canada's top Dr. Tam isn't lying. The bottom line is that, 1 meter catches the whole bunch of droplets, 2 meters, there will be more droplets that you may be able to avoid. So what is the best exit strategy from the government-imposed pandemic lockdowns? How do we avoid a second wave? There is lots of talk about mandatory mask wearing. The TTC, of course, making that rule coming into effect starting July 2nd. The House of Commons Health Committee hearing from experts yesterday about something called dynamic distancing. It's already been adopted by the likes of South Korea and Taiwan. And that means as restrictions are lifted, communities must be ready to reimpose physical distancing and socially restrictive measures periodically with surges in disease activity in order to contain outbreaks and allow economic revitalization to continue. Reporting live, Jamie Pulford, 680 News.
680 News Time, 5:37.
Premier Ford says he'll soon share a plan to help Windsor-Essex reopen. It's the last region in the province still in stage 1 due to farm outbreaks. Ford says he's been in contact with local politicians and farmers to come up with a plan to help the area. The province has urged local farmers to get their workers tested for COVID-19 to help track and contain the spread of the virus.
This is 680 News. Major League Baseball has officially announced plans to open their season in late July with a truncated schedule. One big question for Jays fans, though. Where will they play? Our Simon Bennett has more.
It's a spring to the finish 60-game schedule starting July 23rd and 24th. Players will now report to a second spring training next week with the first order of business to be tested for COVID-19. With outbreaks prevalent in Florida and Arizona, teams heading to their main ballparks as opposed to spring training parks. But what about the Blue Jays, who as of right now cannot cross the border to Rogers Center? Sportsnet's Jai David.
Senses that the Blue Jays will likely hold their camp in Dunedin. There is the potential for them to play their home games there as well, but the Blue Jays would like to get to Toronto.
The AP reporting last night that according to a government official, the Jays may be able to get the same exemption the NHL is getting for potential hub cities if an acceptable restart plan is presented. I'm Simon Bennett.
680 News Time, 5:38. We saw only 4 millimeters of rain at Pearson Airport yesterday, but the midday thunderstorms caused a tornado in the Fenelon Falls area. Environment Canada confirms the tornado touched down at Sturgeon Lake around 3 in the afternoon. Videos and pictures posted online show ominous clouds hovering near the ground, slamming into one cottage and destroying a nearby boathouse. Environment Canada has not said how strong the winds were inside the tornado. They're asking residents to send videos, photos, or damage reports to them.
This is 680 News. The commissioner of the RCMP says calls for action against systemic racism within the National Police Force have been heard. Brenda Lucky tells House of Commons Public Safety Committee the last few weeks have strengthened the RCMP's resolve and admits it is not a perfect organization. 3 recent high-profile interactions with Mounties, 2 fatal, have brought police brutality and discrimination to the forefront.
One of the police officers involved in the fatal shooting of Breonna Taylor in Kentucky back in March has been fired. A termination letter sent to Officer Brett Hankinson yesterday says the officer violated procedures by showing, quote, extreme indifference to the value of human life when he wantonly and blindly shot 10 rounds of gunfire into Taylor's apartment. The letter also says the officer violated the rule against deadly force.
680 News Time, 5:40. A black Mississauga woman is accusing Peel police of racism after she says she was shot on the front porch of her suburban home after she and her partner were tased by police. The SIU is investigating. Leah Sheikh of City News reports.
It was a bad day for me because I didn't get to see my son.
Chantel Krupka says her ex-partner and father of her son called the police after some heated phone calls and texts between the two. They share 50-50 custody of their son, and although Mother's Day wasn't Krupka's day to be with her child, she was hoping to at least speak to him.
I stopped calling at least 10 hours, 11 hours before they got there.
Krupka says she came out of her home with her partner Michael Headley after being directed by police to do so.
I was accused of making a fist, which was impossible with 2 phones in my hand. I even said I didn't. The officer said, I don't care. He told my partner to go inside. He said, go inside, and then immediately tased him. Then he pointed the same taser at me as I was running from him and hit me in the back. I'm running from you. How am I a threat?
Krupka was shot in her lower abdomen and had a fracture in her right hip. She's been recovering after multiple surgeries.
Krupka's lawyer says they have video footage of the incident showing exactly what happened, but they're waiting to release it to the public.
This is 680 News. Make the most of what comes next with a bank account that gives you more. With the Scotiabank Ultimate Package, you can get a boost to your savings, unlimited Interac e-transfer transactions, and just $300 welcome bonus. So make the most of what comes next.
Shoot in the houses with kids, and then they do hit kids, and sometimes they're white kids. Oh yes, they do.
Visit Scotiabank.com.
Oh yeah, the remote control in his hand. What they don't want to tell you, it's a piece of gray plastic, long and thin. It doesn't look anything like any type of weapon.
News time 541.
Now the Scotia iTrade Market Minute. No, it's not. It's time for the traffic and weather together on the ones. You know what, Helena? It's early. Helena Bunk is looking at the roads for it. It's the traffic minute. Well, on the westbound 401, it'll take you a bit longer than a minute to get through the construction west of Highway 25. It's single lane construction west of Highway 25, so it looks pretty solid on that westbound 401 right now. Hopefully they'll wrap that up shortly. Lots of construction still on the northbound 427. The ramp to Rathburn is closed off. Westbound Derry and Finch ramps to the northbound 427 and the northbound 427 ramp to Finch and Highway 7. It looks like they're just in the process of wrapping all of that up. It was quite slow from Finch up to the 407, but things are starting to look better. So the good news is they're wrapping up all of that construction. Looking at a delay on the southbound 400 south of King Road as you head towards Teston. We don't have any construction listed in that area, but it looks a little bit busy through there. Ramp closures involving the westbound 401 still on our list of the Brock Street ramps to the westbound 401 and the Nielsen Markham and southbound Martin Grove ramps to the westbound 401. They're all closed as well. This report brought to you by Sherwin-Williams, by the way. Ask Sherwin-Williams and save 30% on paints and stains June 19th through 30th. Shop in store or call for curbside pickup. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Next traffic report at 5:51 with the forecast. Jill Taylor. It's a cooler, more refreshing air mass for us today. You may even need a light jacket if you're heading to the patio for lunch today. Our guaranteed high, 22 degrees. That's below average. The average high is about 25. Below 7 cloud, just a slight chance of some showers this afternoon. For tonight, partly cloudy, 14. And tomorrow, again, just a slight chance of some showers and up to 25. Right now, a gusty west-southwest wind gust close to 40 kilometers per hour. It's mostly cloudy, 16 at Pearson, 17 at 680 News. Our guaranteed high today, 22.
680 News time 544.
Now the Scotia iTrade Market Minute.
Over to Mike Epple at the 680 Business Center. Morning, Mike.
Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Catherine. Markets down a little bit here in the early trade, with the Dow futures down 277 points, or just over 1%. A little bit of a reset after we've seen stocks climb steadily. The Nasdaq's coming off back-to-back record highs. It's been up 8 days in a row. The case count of COVID-19 in the States on the rise, and some hesitation about that this morning. Also, just the fact that the tech stocks have gone up so far, so fast. There are 5 companies now in the S&P 500, including Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, that represent 20% of the entire market. So again, it's really focused on some heavyweights and some cash being taken out in early trade this morning. Price for oil down 64 cents, $39.72. Gold is up $10, $17.92 an ounce. It's getting closer to an 8-year high. And the Canadian dollar 73.68 is down a tenth of a cent. The Business Center. I'm Mike Epple.
It was a good idea. It wasn't.
Hi, it's Tony Chapman, host of the podcast Chatter That Matters. Thanks to the incredible support of RBC, we're focusing on the heart of the Canadian economy, small businesses. Cheetah Russell has a snack food company called Made with Local. They embody the highest standard of environmental performance in social enterprise. But does that make for good business? Andrew Black, founder of Brand Project, says placing purpose ahead of profit is the only way to go.
There's no debate that consumers today are looking for brands that are socially good, that are doing the right thing, and if they have a choice between two brands, they'll buy the one that is on the right side of that.
Download Chatter That Matters wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks again to RBC for your support of Small Business Matters.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
It's cloudy, 17 degrees in downtown Toronto. Good morning from the 680 News Broadcast Center. I'm Catherine Jeté.
I'm Paul Cook. Here are the top stories this Wednesday morning.
Stage 2 is here. Restaurant patios, salons, public pools, film and TV production all getting the green light to reopen. As of midnight, as Toronto and Peel region enter the next phase of the pandemic recovery. Families in Etobicoke, York, and Scarborough can get their kids registered for the city's summer day camps starting today. Toronto, East York, and West Toronto, York, and North York get their turn tomorrow. And Environment Canada confirms a tornado touchdown near Fenelon Falls yesterday afternoon. Video shows one cottage on Sturgeon Point getting hit, a boathouse destroyed.
Time now for 680 Sports.
From Sportsnet 590 The Fan, here is Simon Bennett.
Hey, good morning, Catherine. Good morning, Paul. We finally get to talk about baseball on the field and not in the boardroom. MLB officially announcing a 60-game schedule. Opening day on July 23rd and 24th. Players will report to spring training next week with the first order of business to be tested for COVID-19. There are reports of more positive cases in the major leagues. For the Blue Jays, 40 of those 60 games will be against American League East teams, which means a super tough schedule. Sportsnet's Ben Nicholson-Smith.
Half of their schedule would come against the Yankees, Red Sox, and Rays. They have 10 against the Orioles. That's good news. But, man, those other three teams in the AL East, that is a tough schedule.
Teams returning to their Major League Park says for the Blue Jays, who at least for now cannot cross the border to work out at Rogers Center. It looks like they will report back to Dunedin for now. This year's induction class for the Hockey Hall of Fame will be announced at 4:30 this afternoon. Jerome McGinley will be a shoo-in. Other first-time eligibles include Marian Hossa, Shane Doan, Jennifer Botterill, and Kim St. Pierre, while some are petitioning for Daniel Alfredson to finally get in. Sports 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
680 News Time, 5:48. Are you using a filter? Your skin looks amazing.
No, that's my It Cosmetics CC cream from TSC. I love that glow. Go to tsc.ca. They have amazing deals every day on all our favorite brands. Is it just fashion and beauty? Home and electronics too.
Transmission depuis des semaines. Alors à ce moment-là, c'est raisonnable de penser de commencer tranquillement des activités sportives, bien entendu pas de spectateurs en respectant la distanciation, mais si on est dans un endroit comme aux États-Unis où il y a encore énormément de propagation, probablement qu'on va trouver.
Reste à voir ce qui va se passer du côté de la Ligue nationale de hockey. On doit annoncer sous peu l'identité des deux villes où se tiendra le tournoi de la Coupe Stanley. Les villes canadiennes de Vancouver, Edmonton et Toronto sont toujours en ligne.
C'est pas le cas.
Notre journaliste au sport, Diane Sauvé. Merci beaucoup, Diane.
Merci à vous.
Ici Radio-Canada Première, du cœur aux idées.
Comme d'habitude, il y aura ce soir un spectacle pour souligner la fête nationale du Québec, mais, contrairement à l'habitude, en raison de la pandémie, ce spectacle qui réunira plusieurs artistes à l'amphithéâtre Cogeco de Trois-Rivières se déroulera devant une salle, vous l'aurez deviné, vide. Par contre, fait plutôt rarissime, il sera diffusé sur l'ensemble des réseaux de télé au Québec, dont Radio-Canada. Pour en discuter, nous joignons la professeure Katharina Niemeyer de l'École des médias à la Faculté de communication de l'Université du Québec à Montréal. Ces travaux portent principalement sur les liens entre médias, mémoire et histoire. Madame Niemeyer, bienvenue à l'heure du monde.
Bonjour.
Une question plus sociologique pour commencer. Qu'est-ce qui explique ce lieu de rendez-vous, ce désir de se retrouver autour d'un événement à la télé à l'occasion de la fête nationale?
Je pense qu'il y a deux raisons principales actuellement qu'on peut nommer. C'est d'abord le confinement. Je pense que le confinement a amené à une sorte de retour devant l'écran télévisuel spécifiquement. On a vu ça partout en Europe, partout dans le monde. Donc peut-être une certaine nostalgie d'être ensemble comme avant. Et on se rend compte que c'était nos temporalités de vie avant, d'être en famille, etc. Et aussi pour les personnes qui vivent seules, la télévision en direct justement permet aussi de se rapprocher en fait, de se sentir ensemble, regarder avec d'autres personnes. C'est un peu le première raison qu'on peut nommer. Et la deuxième, c'est qu'on observe quand même souvent dans le cas de grands événements historiques, qu'il y a des retransmissions télévisuelles en direct, qu'on appelle aussi dans notre jargon chercheurs en médias direct accompli, quand l'événement a eu lieu au moment où il est retransmis. On connaît ça habituellement pour les games de hockey ou les couronnements royaux ou les enterrements de papes, par exemple. Donc là, c'est très, très spécifique dans ce contexte de confinement, même si évidemment, on connaît ça dans le contexte culturel québécois, que la fête de Saint-Jean était toujours retransmis en direct le 24 juin. Mais ce qui est particulier cette année, c'est cette conjoncture, en fait, de deux situations sociales, en fait, qui viennent ensemble. Et particulièrement aussi, je pense, le fait que la culture joue un rôle très, très important au moment des crises.
C'est intéressant que vous disiez ça, parce qu'on a souvent entendu que les meilleures années de la télé sont en quelque sorte derrière elle, comme un joueur de hockey vieillissant qui serait menacé par les nouvelles recrues plus fringantes. Qu'est-ce que vous en pensez?
Je pense que la télévision n'est pas morte du tout. Elle est en métamorphose. Et peut-être, comme ça se fait d'ailleurs pour le journalisme aussi, il n'y a pas quelque chose qui était forcément meilleur avant, mais je pense que dans les moments de confinement ou de situation de crise, on peut voir l'importance en fait qu'ont les médias et les journalistes aussi pour réunir en fait les gens. Ça a été historiquement le cas pour la radio, la télévision évidemment aussi, Internet peut le permettre autrement, mais pas complètement. Et je pense aussi que l'écran ne peut pas remplacer la rencontre réelle, surtout des grands rassemblements, pour les personnes qui aiment les grands rassemblements, évidemment. Ça ne remplacera jamais la rencontre culturelle en direct non plus, les concerts, ici maintenant d'une pièce de théâtre, mais peut compenser, en tout cas dans ce contexte actuel, être une forme de pansement en fait à quelque chose qu'on ne peut pas vivre. Donc on peut combler ce désir en fait qui ne peut pas être comblé au temps présent. Moi, contrairement à ce que parfois il dit, je pense pas que la télévision soit morte, elle est juste en train de changer. Et puis certaines formes de regarder la télévision à l'écran vont rester, peut-être sont renforcées avec le confinement, donc d'être ensemble, de regarder à la maison ensemble en famille, ou même seul, d'avoir un petit rituel de rencontre où on sait qu'au même moment où moi je regarde, d'autres regardent. Donc il y a un sentiment d'appartenance en fait qui est créé par ce direct accompli.
Mais donc ce trait commun-là qui semble bien fonctionner, c'est le direct, c'est l'émotion, mais c'est pas le cas pour toutes les émissions qui sont diffusées à la télévision. Donc, est-ce que le rayonnement du petit écran est le même qu'auparavant et comment est-il en train de se transformer?
Évidemment qu'il y a le contexte du visionnement connecté, des plateformes, les fameuses GAFAM que tout le monde connaît. Et puis, je pense que dans ce contexte-là, il est important que la télévision, surtout les chaînes publiques, se restructure, repense peut-être autrement aussi à créer de nouvelles émissions. Comme par exemple là, ce qui va se passer donc ce soir, c'est vraiment de fêter aussi la culture en direct à l'antenne. On pourrait imaginer la même chose, comme ça a été fait déjà une époque dans l'histoire de la télévision, de retransmettre des pièces de théâtre davantage, donc de repenser aussi un peu les modes de consommation. Je pense que le direct jouera toujours un rôle très très important. On le connaît évidemment du sport, mais pas uniquement. Ce serait peut-être une piste à explorer par rapport à ça. Mais évidemment, on ne peut pas savoir si l'avenir entre deux vagues ou l'après-confinement va se représenter de la même façon. On va voir au soir combien de personnes vont réellement se rassembler ce soir. Donc ça, je ne peux pas vous dire.
Vous mentionnez les GAFAM de ce monde, les Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon et Microsoft, donc tous ceux qui sont derrière ces grandes plateformes. Mais on peut penser que ce direct à grand déploiement va peut-être les intéresser un jour, parce que vous savez, il y a de plus en plus de directs sur YouTube, c'est la même chose sur Facebook. Pendant plusieurs années, Apple a diffusé des concerts en direct, vous en rappelez sans doute le fameux Apple Music Festival. Est-ce que le direct à grand déploiement va rester l'apanage des télés générales encore longtemps?
Là, il y a un positionnement très important à faire, évidemment aussi en termes techniques. C'est pour ça que c'est très important que la télévision et l'institution télévisuelle travaillent ça pour aussi concurrencer ces concurrents-là. En même temps aussi, le direct permet aussi à des artistes peut-être parfois peu connus en fait d'être en direct. On l'a vu pendant le confinement. Pour la culture, surtout aussi au Québec, mais ailleurs dans le monde, ça c'est quand même un pilier très très important aussi pour le partage de culture plus locale. Donc, je pense que là il y a un réel positionnement en fait à faire et à prendre dans l'avenir, et de soutenir aussi les petites structures et aussi la télévision davantage classique qui évolue pour éviter peut-être une homogénéisation aussi de l'expérience télévisuelle.
Madame Niemeyer, allez-vous regarder le spectacle ce soir?
Très honnêtement, je ne sais pas si je vais le regarder en entier, mais je vais essayer de le faire par Internet parce que je suis actuellement à la campagne pour quelques jours et n'aura pas l'accès classique en fait à la télévision, que j'ai normalement à la maison.
Donc pas d'accès classique, mais d'ordinaire, vous en avez eu.
Oui, tout à fait.
Et vous la regardez.
Oui.
Katharina Niemeyer.
Merci à vous.
Et justement, ce que vous entendez, c'est un extrait des répétitions en vue du spectacle de la Fête nationale qui aura lieu ce soir. Une fête très différente cette année. Pour en discuter, nous accueillons le journaliste Nabi Alexandre Chartier. Nabi Alexandre, à quoi les téléspectateurs peuvent-ils s'attendre ce soir?
Pierre Lapointe et Ariane Moffat sont de retour à la barre de l'événement qui a été enregistré hier à l'amphithéâtre Cogeco de Trois-Rivières, en respectant bien sûr les consignes sanitaires.
Bien sûr.
Sur scène, 40 artistes, 3 grands orchestres pour l'événement, l'OSM, l'Orchestre métropolitain et l'Orchestre symphonique de l'Estuaire seront également de la partie. Évidemment, il n'y aura pas de grands rassemblements festifs cette année. En général, il y a 2,5 millions de Québécois qui se rassemblent dans l'un des 700 sites de la Fête nationale de bout à l'autre du Québec. Cette année, ce ne sera pas le cas. Ce sera des festivités qui seront télédiffusées. Mais même si les festivités vont se dérouler dans une salle sans public, les artistes à qui on a parlé sont persuadés que l'ambiance sera là. Je vous propose d'écouter David Goudreau, Marie-Mé et Pierre Lapointe.
Moi, j'ai l'impression de vouloir les rejoindre à travers l'écran à un point tel que je vais être encore plus intense. En tout cas, c'est ce que je souhaite.
C'est exceptionnel, en fait, d'avoir l'opportunité de vivre un trip de gang comme ça après ces mois à être à la maison.
Et ce sera, j'ai vu des images de soir avec les éclairages et tout à la caméra. Ce sera un show monumental.
Et on en parlait à l'instant avec notre invité Katharina Niemeyer. Les 4 grands réseaux francophones se sont unis pour diffuser le spectacle.
Oui, parce que cette année, le thème, c'est tout le Québec. Ils sont tous unis pour notre fierté nationale. Donc, c'est vraiment le message qu'on veut envoyer des organisateurs. Et la preuve en est que les 4 diffuseurs s'associent s'unissent pour diffuser l'événement. On va également y avoir des artistes d'horizons divers, les plus jeunes et les moins jeunes. Des gens comme Patrice Michaud, Lara Fabian ou encore Émile Bilodeau qui vont présenter des performances complètement réorchestrées. D'autres comme Diane Dufresne et Hubert Lenoir qui réinterpréteront des grands classiques du répertoire québécois. Il y a également un discours patriotique qui prendra cette année la forme de contes, de slams, de chansons et qui seront livrés par Fred Pellerin, Élie Sapi et la comédienne Christine Beaulieu. Le message qu'on a voulu envoyer après les événements des dernières semaines et après un début de l'année assez dur, c'est l'union fait la force. Je vous propose de les écouter là-dessus.
On a l'occasion de regarder ça dans notre petit monde, dans notre monde qui est imparfait. Il y a quand même tout plein de gens ultra créatifs.
Le compte que je vais livrer pour la Fête nationale et
And then even you won't sleep with each other anymore.
Tant que tu habites, que tu vis au Québec, tu es un Québécois. Cette fête-là s'adresse à toi.
C'est être reconnu de Richard et Christine Beaulieu et Didier Lucien qui participent tous à l'événement. C'est sera raconté de 20h sur le poste de votre choix.
Merci beaucoup, Nabi Alexandre. Vous avez raison de le dire, sur le poste de votre choix. C'est ce qui conclut cette édition de l'Heure du Monde. Merci de nous écouter, auditeurs du Québec. Bonne fête nationale. Profitez-en en toute sécurité. Rapprochez-vous, mais pas trop. Ici, Jalek Tremblay. À demain.
I'm so scared. You're as white as the ice, man. Here's your photo.
Ici Première veut vous aider à profiter au maximum de votre été. Jusqu'au 5 juillet, soyez à l'écoute de votre radio, repérez l'indice du jour en ondes et inscrivez-vous au radiocanada.ca/concours été. Vous pourriez remporter un chèque cadeau d'une valeur de 1 000 $ chez le détaillant de votre choix.
Vous écoutez
l'été, ici Radio-Canada Première. Au 860 AM, à Toronto. Du cœur aux idées.
Ce matin au Radio-Journal, le feu de forêt au lac Saint-Jean, même s'il est contenu, le brasier inquiète les producteurs de bois.
D'avoir complètement modifié notre qualification annuelle de cette année.
Un spectacle de lac Saint-Jean inédit en temps de pandémie. Et Montréal n'a toujours pas interdit le glyphosate qui devait être banni l'an dernier.
Getting back to some semblance of normal as more restrictions are lifted, but there are concerns about a second wave of this virus, and now lots of opinions about how to avoid that.
Major League Baseball finally announces a return with games starting July 23rd and 24th. Where will the Jays play? Sports at 15.
Dow Jones stock futures down close to 300 points. International trends down close to 2% on markets in Europe. Price for gold close to 8-year high, business at 26.
680 News Time, 6:01.
Traffic and weather together on the ones brought to you by City TV. Eva from Discount into the 680 Traffic Center. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Catherine. I'm looking at a problem right now. About 400 approaching Keston. The right lane is still blocked off. That's all because of a stalled vehicle. We've got emergency crews on the scene. You will find it jammed up on the southbound 400 as a result from King Road all the way through to that issue. So you definitely want to make sure you're leaving yourself some extra time. It's really causing quite the slowdown for drivers on that southbound 400. If you're on the opposite side, northbound 400, drivers slightly slowing down just to take a look at the issues on that southbound side. Looking at the eastbound 401, eastbound 401 not spotting any major delays at this time, seems to be moving quite well. Westbound 401, again, not spotting any delays or problems. It seems to be moving quite well. There's some construction on the northbound 427 around Burnhamthorpe, but again, looks like that construction may have cleared away. I don't see any delays through that stretch. And then just looking at the QW, both eastbound and westbound, everything seems to be moving at the limit on that route. Gardner Expressway heading into and out of the downtown core right now. Again, no delays and no problems. It seems to be moving quite well. Get the latest news affecting our community every night on City News at 6 and 11, only on City TV. Next report is at 6:11. Here's a check on the forecast now with Jill Taylor. It's a lot more refreshing for us today. Good morning, even to all our listeners. Just a slight chance of showers this afternoon. Right now, that wind quite gusty out of the west-southwest. It's 16 degrees, mostly cloudy at Pearson. 17 at 680 News. Our guaranteed high today, 22. 680 News Time, 6:02.
A whole new world here in the city and in Peel region today as we join the rest of the province, except for Windsor, in the lifting of several pandemic restrictions.
6 City's Kevin Meisner joins us live from Yorkville with the story and reaction. Kevin.
Yeah, Catherine, it is a very good bet that people in Peel and Toronto will be checking to see if their favorite restaurant patio will be open for lunch or an afternoon pint today, because that is possible once again in those areas. Here in Yorkville this morning, Ian hopes to do that today, but first, a trip to his barber.
I guess the thing that I'd be looking most forward to is that haircut. That's the best part.
What makes that haircut so appealing right now?
It's just the feel. It just feels cleaner.
Nursing student Clarice is a little more altruistic, shall we say. She's hoping stage 2 will mean she gets a chance to continue her work.
Most excited to get into our final placements for school right now and be back in the hospitals and hopefully start being able to make a difference there.
Shopping malls can also reopen today in Peel and Toronto, but you can't eat in the food court, only takeout available. Public pools, splash pads, day spas, even film and TV production can open again with proper physical distancing in place. Near Bay and Bloor, Kevin Meisner, 680 News.
680 News Time, 6:04. They are staples of summer in the city. Day camps for kids and outings to the Toronto Islands, and we're expecting to hear a lot about both today. 680 Stuart McGinn joins us live with the reason why. Stuart.
Paul, summer camp registration starts this morning by 7 o'clock. Parents in York, Scarborough, and Etobicoke can get on the phone or online to try and secure their child's spot. All registration for the rest of the city will take place tomorrow, but there's no in-person sign-up this year, with community centers still closed. Mayor John Tory calls the new Camp TO program a critical part of the city's recovery and rebuild.
Summer camps are so important for so many of our kids, and I'm glad that we'll be able to offer this experience this year, even in the midst of the pandemic.
just have. No, they don't.
families.
No, they
It's
don't.
different, though. The number of
It's that one
spots
to hide
available
you,
after
when you
canceling
close,
68,000
less air
spaces
coming
in
in.
May because of the pandemic. Just
not coming in, it's
32,000 are
circulating.
available
And
for the
one to
8-week
load,
program
open,
that kicks
more
off
air,
July
that's
13th.
not
Those
how that
reduced
works.
numbers, part of some new health and safety
One goes on,
guidelines in place that
low
include
humidity
enhanced cleanings,
drawer,
health
ethylene
screening,
producers.
and physical
Yeah, again,
distancing.
those two
We'll
things
hear
have
from
nothing
Tory
to do
about
with
this
each other.
and summer plans for Toronto Island this
Fruit
morning.
heads,
He's set to make an
vegetables,
announcement at the
not
Jack
all.
Layton Ferry Terminal at 8 o'clock. Reporting live, Stuart
It's
begins
not
680
me,
News.
it's producing ethylene.
680 News time
I don't want
6:05.
me producers,
After
don't go bad in my
months
house.
of boardroom arguing, Major League Baseball has finally announced a date for opening day. Our Simon Bennett has the details.
July 23rd and 24th. Those are the days earmarked by Major League Baseball to finally start the season. A 60-game schedule was announced with teams reporting to a second spring training next week. Instead of a central hub, teams will be playing in their own ballparks that have fans. As for the Jays, they plan to start working at in Dunedin, Florida, if they can't cross the border to the Rogers Center. Instead of the usual summer marathon, it's a sprint to the finish. Sportsnet Shai Davidi and what that means for a young Blue Jays team.
They're going to have to balance both the development of their players as well as the attempt to try and win and be as competitive as possible.
More big changes. Pitchers will not be hitting in the National League. The designated hitter will be universal, and extra innings will begin with a runner at second base to keep games as short as possible. I'm Simon Bennett.
Why?
680
Give me a
News time,
justification.
606.
Not to say, oh, duh, no, I don't know what. What?
You're with
What?
Toronto's only all-news radio, 680 News.
What's he gonna do? He's throwing a ball at a guy who's gonna hit it. Three other guys are
avoid
gonna
a
grab it.
second
With
wave of
hands in it, spitting
COVID-19.
in fucking
We
20
need to
minutes.
consider
You're not allowed
something
to spit on the
called
ground anymore.
dynamic distancing.
What do you think they're doing?
680's Jamie Pulper joins us
Stop it.
live with a
And
look at
throw
what
it
that
back
could
to you.
mean for us in the months ahead.
Oh, it's a different
Jamie.
ball.
Yeah, Paul,
There's
so
three
many
of them.
opinions,
So
so
when the
much
fourth one comes
excitement
around,
about
that's
reopening
this
after
one.
an unprecedented lockdown,
He's like
but
that
it doesn't mean the
triple-washed
threat is
lettuce.
gone.
It's
There was
washed
a lot of
3 times and
buzz
shit
about
water.
easing
Same shit
physical
water.
distancing rules from 2
Don't-
meters to
don't-
1 meter.
Don't.
That's
Give
what
me
they're doing in the
basket. Triple
UK,
wash.
but
Why
Canada's
not?
top doctor is sticking to what has been working.
Keeping the 2 meters of physical distancing, washing hands often, covering coughs and sneezes, layering within
Is that
non-medical
magically
masks
the
or
law
face
would
covering,
force them to have
and
clean
staying
water
home.
in a place where clean
And there
water
was a
don't
lot of
exist?
talk about making
That's
face
the law.
masks mandatory. The
Let's
city of
change the law
Guelph
to
has
just
done
don't
it.
put it in the
There's
water.
no
Water,
blanket
fucking
rule in
retarded.
Toronto, with only the TTC implementing a mask
Oh, well,
mandate
just make it
starting
happen.
July
We'll write a law
2nd.
that it has
So
to
how do
happen.
we prevent a
Sure.
second wave of the virus? Online,
How about
lots of questions
tuberculosis,
like, are we on this
Ebola,
lockdown roller
HIV?
coaster until there's a vaccine? The bottom line is probably.
Until
With
there's a
experts
vaccine.
talking
Until there's a
dynamic
vaccine. Until
distancing
there's
with the
what
House of
vaccine?
Commons Health
There's no
Committee
HIV
yesterday.
vaccine. There's
It's the
never going
process
to be
of
a vaccine
reimposing
for diseases
restrictions
that
off and
mutates.
on as the
Oh, that's
virus
why I got
ebbs
the
and
flu
flows,
shot
meant to
every
keep
year.
the economy
Which one did
going
you get?
while
There's 3
containing
or
the
2
outbreaks.
every
It's
year.
something that's already
Oh, and
happening
the
in
double
South
dose for
Korea
opium. They
and
tell them not
Taiwan.
to double dose.
Reporting live,
And they
Jamie
see they can
Pulper,
have the
680
double
News.
dose in one
680
shot, but
News
they
time
can't have 2 separate
6:08.
shots.
Prime Minister Trudeau will be
What's
part of
the
a
fucking
series of
You're
prominent
charging double
speakers
for the double dose
featured
shot.
at a major tech conference starting this morning in the city, except instead of 30,000 people coming to the
Oh, you get it
GTA,
once a year. There's
this
3
year's
versions of it
Collision
every year.
Conference will be a
And because
virtual
they stopped
event.
making
Mike
them a year
Apple
and a half
reports from the
advance,
680
yes,
Business Center.
It's dubbed as one of the world's largest tech conferences, with thousands of people typically coming into the city for the multi-day event. This year, it's Collision from Home. The Collision event will be online, still featuring some 600 prominent politicians, business leaders, and journalists. But at the same time, a major blow to the city's travel and tourism sector,
They
since
tell you that you
all those
can't have the
attendees
flu
won't
shot
actually
because
be coming into
they
the
don't
city.
get the
According to
actual
the Collision
flu.
website, more
Oh,
than
did you know they make that? You have to
32,000
ask for
people
it.
from 140 countries are expected to participate. Prime Minister's session, which was recorded in advance, will be shown tomorrow, focusing on Canada's response to the pandemic, with particular emphasis on the role of science and innovation. On the other featured speakers are the president of Microsoft, the head of the World Health Organization, and the chief production officer at Netflix. For the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
680 News Time, 609.
Chief
Environment
Production
Canada
Officer
confirming a
opened it.
tornado
Nothing,
did
bro.
indeed touch down in the
That
Kawartha
person's
Lakes
nothing
region.
to do with the
It hit
production of
Sturgeon
everything.
Point on
Nothing-
Sturgeon Lake
nothing
near
to do
Fenland
with the
Falls
real
during
world,
yesterday's storms. Our meteorologist Jill Taylor says it happened around 3 in the afternoon.
Damage was specifically for Sturgeon Point, the
Remember
corner of
6 months
Irene
ago,
Avenue
Netflix
and
was gonna
Lake
crack
Avenue.
down on everybody
Lots
that
of
was
damage
using
to a
their password
boathouse
in
there.
more than one place.
forms so quickly. Not a lot of time for warning.
Environment Canada is investigating the strength and exact path of the tornado. They're asking residents to send any video, photos, or damage reports they may have.
This is 6 City News. A report from the city's ombudsman raising concern about how Toronto community housing tenants are treated will be presented to the board today. Susan Oppler says complaints to her office spiked from 184 in 2018 to nearly 450 last year. Her report accuses the corporation's staff of flawed customer service and poor communication when dealing with tenant complaints. Over the past 3 years, nearly a quarter of all cases the city's ombudsman has handled were about TCH. In 2019, about a third of the complaints from tenants had to do with building maintenance. Among the recommendations from the ombudsman, giving tenants a clear reason for decisions affecting them and better training employees to provide better public service.
The law in the UN
Good morning. Good workout.
You have the right to know the decision.
Good meeting.
Yes, you do. Read the fucking charter and the law and the case law and the fucking
The Good Sleep sale is on now.
Oh, well, there are human rights tribunal as well. That's right.
Or shop our amazing deals online.
This is not new. None of this is new.
Sleep Country.
They decided they could do it whichever way they want. And words on paper don't mean anything. Because we usually do that.
Well, some good news if you're set up on the 400 approaching Teston problems there. They've all cleared away. Still quite jammed up from King Road to Teston, but that's very quickly starting to clear away now that the problem has cleared. If you're on the eastbound 401, no delays. Same with the westbound side. Northbound 400 on Highway 88. Now, last check, we had the left lane closed off for construction. And if you're northbound on the 404, just north of the 401 to north of Shepherd and the Express, we have the left lane closed off for construction. I don't see a delay at all through there. And then north 404 around Highway 7. Got the left lane closed off as well because of construction. Again, there's no delay. Dundas, both directions at Erin Mills, both directions. So right at that intersection of Dundas and Erin Mills, it's a single lane.
I don't even have
road construction. And we also have north and southbound Bathurst from Bloor to Barton that is still closed off. Again, that's for some long-term construction. It will be there until September. Next report is at 6:21. Here's a check on the forecast with Jill Taylor. It's kind of gusty wind right now.
Stop using that word. Those people are dead. We don't want to hear their name.
But it sure is invigorating after all that humidity.
Oh, we're sorry we used to shoot it through the street and we successfully exterminated you. But therefore you have no right, so we're going to steal your money now.
Just a slight chance of some showers. Guaranteed high, only 22, 14 for the low, and a slight chance of showers again tomorrow.
3 episodes in a row trying to convince us there's no link to the beer talk. At the end, go off, but there is actually. There's no link, but there is actually. Oh, Ancestry, whatever has 43 samples to represent.
Just in the 6 City News, we now have a date for the resumption
600 nations in Canada, plus like
islands for non-island residents. Let's go live to 680's Mitch Burke.
43 individuals.
And Paul, here is the mayor on CHF Live.
Whoever signed up first on
I'll be having a few words to say at 8 o'clock this morning about the Toronto Island. I'll give you a sneak preview. We're starting the ferry service on June the 27th because it really hasn't been going. There's some rules on, again, that have to do with crowding and the spreading of the virus imposed by the federal government that have really changed the way the ferries will operate and limiting the capacity, but nonetheless, the ferry service will resume so people can go to that beautiful park over there.
Some more details to come at 8 o'clock, but again, the big headline here, ferries resuming on Saturday. Reporting live, I'm Mitch Burke.
Yes, it is.
This is 6 City News.
Now the Scotia iTrade Market Minute.
Over to Mike Ethel at the 6 City Business Center. Mike.
Catherine, Dow futures down 270 points. That is just over 1%, pulling back from the recent rally. The price for oil slipping back below $40 a barrel, $39.82, down 55 cents. Gold, though, climbing almost at an 8-year high, up $13.50 an ounce, $17.95.50 US. And the Canadian dollar down 10 at $73.67 at the Business Center. I'm Mike Ethel.
Direct invest with Scotia iTrade. Get started in 3 easy steps and begin your investing journey from home today. Learn more at ScotiaITrade.com. Still ahead on 680 News.
Parents rejoice. We have reopening dates for the aquarium, the zoo, and Casa Loma.
6 City News time, 6:14.
Time for a news new air conditioner? Call on Reliance. Right now, you can get a featured air conditioner from Reliance Home Comfort and save 20%. That's right, you can save 20% on a new air conditioner today. Have an emergency? Call us anytime, any day. Rest assured, we're also taking every precaution to keep you safe. And as always, you can count on our next day or we pay $500 installation guarantee. When you need to beat the heat fast, call on Reliance. Conditions apply. See website for details.
Rogers is working with over 100.
Even the pipelines that have been started have stopped because there's nowhere to.
And raising donations for
These people have the most backwards understanding of business in the world. When the supply is restricted, they lower the price. Oh, and then we can't cover the cost of the pipe to use the pipeline, and then we go lower down on the list. We have to drop the prices more. That doesn't make sense. Oh, the pipelines are empty now, technically. It's like a train or an airplane. Like you have to buy a ticket to get on the pipeline.
17 degrees, cloudy. Good morning from the 680 News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto. I'm Paul Cook.
I'm Catherine Jeté. Here are
So
the
now the
top
price is
stories
down.
right now.
Haircut, small shopping.
Because why? What makes sense? Oh, it's up. It's up north
now.
now.
Officially in stage 2 today of the province's pandemic
That
reopening
was West
protocol.
Texas.
Mayor Tory confirming on our sister station 98.1 CHFI just moments ago. Ferry service for non-island residents to the Toronto Island will restart this Saturday. Registration opens at 7 this morning for the city's Camp TO program for families in Etobicoke, York, and Scarborough. And coming up after sports.
India sees its highest single-day spike in COVID-19 cases.
What did you say?
Brazil
Etobicoke,
records nearly
York, and
40,000
Scarborough.
new infections. And as new cases surge in the U.S., the
Oh,
EU
we're getting back
considers a
down to
recommendation to
splitting
block
things up in
American
separate
visitors.
municipalities.
Time now for 680 Sports.
From Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Simon Bennett.
Hey, good morning. Baseball is back. MLB announcing official plans for a 60-game
both of
season
you.
with opening day
And
on
when you
July
get close
23rd
enough, I'm
and
gonna
24th.
fucking shoot.
The series will be on the next Sunday.
I'd swipe you on the
Geography teams will face their own.
I said I made these niggas run for my nigga, run for my nigga, run for my nigga.
I essentially did what I said. I laid down like 10 minutes, got covered in front of the bugs, got up and killed them. I'll just keep doing that throughout the day.
He looked at his man, and his man peeled his grill. Out here, shit hits the fan hard. I open niggas doors to their crib like the landlord. This shit wasn't planned, God. Niggas tried humble me. I told this bitch to leave my house when she was
a long time ago there was Vampire Bats shooting off the cows.
But I wasn't. I made him up. Yeah, I got my gun out. Told this nigga turn around. Have 5 seconds to run. You gon' take the ground. Took off. Fell face first when you heard the sound. I ain't even hit this nigga. I think it's sound of sound. Nigga went in shock and I never seen his face again. I think about myself. I wasn't trying to catch the case again. Next day he called my phone off of my tape. Told him call where I'm at. It's gonna be a side tape. Run for my nigga. 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 Run for my. Make these niggas run for my nigga. 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 Run from a nigga when I ride with the fifth round. Do a home invasion, get the fuck on them sit down. I didn't give a fuck about that bitch that he did down. She's sitting right there and I still slap his shit out. Yellow take the place, call the corners and bastards. Niggas say they want my head, well now I'm laughing. The big bumps to the straight lines can't pass this. And if you do, then the scene get drafted. Stressed out, who got a blunt, can you pass one? Wake up every day with doubts like it's my last one. These cops better free for a cause hell. And I got more bars than the Don jail. Fucking wild, sight fits when I fuck the 9. There ain't no limit to this living, nigga. Fuck this guy, trust him why? I can't trust him, but I fucking try. Fuck these guys, I'm an ape, I bet I make these lies. Run for my nigga, 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 run for my. Make these niggas run for my nigga, 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 run for my nigga.
for the street niggas, man. The voice of the streets, the blacks.
As a little kid, I was in the kitchen watching work. Never flyest kids, I was never on no hurt shit. Never flyest bitch, I couldn't walk with no hurt shit. Heavy in gymnastics, cause I had to make that work. Touch niggas living me, fuck niggas killing me. Break a arm, laugh in the face, that guy's killing me. Dark clouds surrounding us, you can smell a pound of us. All my niggas came from the bottom, I mean the pounding up. I spot him like Ashley, in traffic and couldn't pass me. Made my first walk with a big shot in the grass. That's about the same time that Teddy got touched too. 2 days later, I got bust in the lungs too. Day after that, I came back with a bump that held too. Only close one red sun, I caused hell too. And don't talk if a nigga gets caught too. 3 HS, 3 ops, not apologetic. Why the fuck you think I shot you? Everyone's a blessing, so just watch who you talk to. When I pull up on your block, niggas know it's G-Lock. You know I send shots. Give me that good cop. When I pull up at your spot, I'm by the cop house. My niggas reckless, and the bullets won't stop. Yo, I'm a ride on my enemies. Since I go today, I bet my dogs will remember me. Shooting out the semi-peaks after this Tennessee. Word to God, you cannot stop my energy. They know me for rolling on them late nights. With them millions trying to get our shit right. Rolling with that sick pipe. Ask SP, you know I got him. It's red lights on a motherfucker when I spot him. And this life we fucked it up in common. Niggas don't want no drama. I'm on the waistline and beat a llama. Wait to my mama. I got the rock in. Yo.
Well, there was a GO train.
My nigga see me low to the spit. Yo, my nigga say two to the spit. You always see lock in the spit, nigga. It's T-Dot, nigga. 7-5, nigga. I done made a 5-2, nigga. Let it know, man. Yo, P, I got my nigga. You know how we do this shit, man. Yeah. I'm out. Come on.
I'm ready to solve that problem, bro. Problem solver. I'm a problem solver.
What the fuck it is, nigga? You're not listening. Grinding, that's the motto we live by. Timing, playing games, we got no time to grind. Till I stack so high, right? For all the niggas who are close by, if you ain't down to please stay on the Lord's side. Big gun, eagle eye, that'll get your show fried. Grind. That's the motto we live by, right. Tell all of your folks.
I tell these niggas act sick like my niggas won't air you or talk till you see me sleeping in your rear view. So I dare you, if it's me you wanna harm G. Shots make your heart stop, I'm out in a heartbeat. Always on my feet cause niggas sneak for the right price. So in these dark streets I keep it close like a nightlight. When I let it go they taking off like a race. Niggas always rap, why you think this mask on my face? Why you think I'm on this block making cash different ways? Nipping to these heads with shots pushing back your waves. Your mom catching graves when my niggas sit and laugh. But it's a straight face when I stickin' for the stash. Yo, cause John knows I got some stacks at my base. But I'm still robbing niggas like I'm flat on my face. Still shooting shots, no shoes, get them laced. You the same dirty, get away with no trace.
Grinding, that's the motto we live by, put time in. Playing games, we got no time to grind. Till I stack so high, right? For all the niggas who are close by, if you ain't down to please stay on the Lord's side. Big gun, eagle eye, that nigga just so fried, grind. That's the motto we live by, right? Tell all of your foes side. Yo, I'll ride out for the close ones. Crunch time, do time for the close ones. When it comes down in the long run, you niggas broke, I'm the man with the long gun. You're fucking with the wrong one. If my niggas broke, I'ma break. I'ma get you smoked out like a dope caddy that. Nigga nigga OD from this chrome lead. You owe me, pay me, or I flip things. Anything I find is mine, then I'm a jet. Certain niggas shouldn't chip, better off with a chat. Certain niggas shouldn't grip, freeze when they see that bitch. Freeze when they see goonies. But it's nothing like the movie. Bunch of young youths with nothing but a smoothie. But we still on our fuckery. And the streets done cuff me. I'm counting money, got me feeling so lucky. Still feeling cursed cause I sleep with a duppy. You niggas are sweet and me I'm on my munchies. Munchies? I mean on my grungy. So come try slug me. I love guns and my gun loves me. Strap on my side like a wife and a huggy. Day shift, night shift, no kids cuddy. Rubber band money, slap on your titties. Come try jack me, I brought the strap with me. I brought the strap with me.
Double stack, 53 foot, and you look like the high cube, so I can't remember anymore what's what.
Nah, they gonna just start cyclic, no?
Free up the youth now,
See?
Free sick, free kilo, free John, free OG. Go
hard, leg clothing. Body DBS. All black on my clothing. X-Men, that's how we rolled in. Put it to you, have you jumping like the rose in. But you in your mouth, taking out your gold in. Put it to your next man, now it's next frozen. Now I'm dipping in the stolen, creeping in, I'm scoping. I see him leave him open. Big large one, there's no poking. Pop up the big, your head's open. Now you're floating. The body stays deep in the ocean. Cruising with some deadly fish, so your body ain't exposing. DBS, I was chosen. So I hunt for the golden. And make watch, don't care if it's stolen. But pop, if you owe him. The black flag always hold him. Fight DB, we rolled in. 10 guns, we hold in. 2 each, so we gon' win. A headshot, so you gon' spin.
Niggas not tryna see me with the DBS, cause you know the niggas I'm with, get it poppin'. Strap on my waist, you can tell by how I'm walking. Back left, you can lie right in the coffin. I remember, I almost got caught slipping shit, had me tripping. On this block I'm sitting, call it camping, my niggas had me snapping. Now I'm sitting here, plotting on my enemy. Had to get my own strap, niggas didn't fend for me. A fat blunt and some Hennessy. Just to level me, this beat sounds heartfelt. Big bullets made the biggest niggas melt. That's a nigga. Upside, nigga, nigga.
Every nigga I roll with fuck scavengers. Somebody strapped with the beat, so mad at the caliber. Deal with you right. Ain't no getting back at us. Do what I got, and then I'm dipping in the Avenger. Back to the bricks. Who in the usual way. Felt like he was trying to hide, so I had to shoot a few. Gotta expect it, you know how down bottom shooters do. Cut gloves and eat your hoodie. Black socks fitted too black. I'm about to get down to my business. Deal with them on the ones, no need for a witness. Hand me the ratchet, call me Mr. Fix It. Learn from my bro, no need for shooting if you miss it. Stop complaining, every day is a gift. Every morning up, you got myself in the kitchen. Fiends everywhere. Pots whipping, I wanna move bricks, but a nigga hate pitching. The strap up out of my waist stays kicking, and I be trained so I aim with precision. Hit him in the 6-pack, give him about 6 flat, and it's a rip rap. Nigga believe that. Tree 2 and it only costs a G-stack. Something like it's only half of the read. Double M and DBS, know that we bang. Get it in the T.O. everywhere that we go. Niggas know how we roll, deeper than the markup. Before I let the heat blow, creeping on you motherfuckers, just to let you know I ain't sleeping on you motherfuckers, just to let you know that I'm ready and I'm firing. When I come through, nigga, don't be hiding. If I get caught, toss the clock, then I'm lying. Don't claim it's on, then slowly be dying. You can find me in the slowly riding. If I'm strapped up, put the strap in your face. I was on the block, posted up front page, trying to get guap in every other way. Still trying to get guap, looking for a better day. Mommy's on my...
I'm just gonna ignore all influence. I really don't give a fuck. I got nothing but time to burn. What the fuck are you fucking doing? And the clock hasn't turned over. I'm too fucking ceiling.
Jackpot's $4,000. Right now, 17 degrees and cloudy in
all
downtown
30
Toronto.
days.
60 news time. 6:30.
Number one for news in
System
Toronto.
UI isn't responding.
680 News.
How long have we been offline? System UI isn't responding.
Morning. It's Wednesday, June 24th.
Here's what's making news right now.
People are feeling a sense of accomplishment as Toronto and Peel region enter stage 2 of
A
pandemic
sense of
reopening.
you've done nothing but try to fuck this up.
Patios, hair
People are
salons, and shopping
feeling
malls
this.
among the
How do you know
businesses
they're
allowed to
feeling that, bro?
reopen. Ferry
What the fuck
service
are
to
you
Toronto
talking
Island
about?
is set to resume this
done
weekend
nothing
as
but
the
try to
city opens
fuck
up
everything
summer
up,
camp
Ollie.
registration for certain regions this morning.
Emerging from an
And when you finally get forced to do what you're supposed to do, oh, I didn't know. Yes, you did.
The
You got
race is
told
on to
over and
prevent a
over.
second wave of the virus, and something called dynamic distancing could be the answer. Environment Canada confirms a tornado
What
touched
if people I thought
down
to
near
fuck
Fenland
off?
Falls during yesterday's
Get next to
storms.
me,
Finally, we can talk
point
about
their
Major
lips
League
up
Baseball
at me
on the
and
field.
yell,
The
good
60-game
to see
schedule
you. Yeah,
officially
so I'll
announced
turn
starting
at
next
the
month.
mother
Players to
spitting in my
report
face, eh?
next week. Sports
You white people are
7:45.
funny. I ain't them two little crackheads. I'll joke you with something bigger than your neck, bro. It'll come off the back.
Markets showing some
I'm
resistance
gonna
to the
catch you
recent
in your
rally.
outside.
Dow
You
futures
just
down
keep
just over
smoking that rock and
250
it'll be
points.
okay.
Price for gold
Stupid.
close
Once
to an
you
8-year
quit, you're
high.
done.
Business at 56.
I swear to God, I've given that order on so many customers and they don't ever quit. They smoke from that point onwards to done in about 4 or 5
Alexis
months.
of Richmond Hill. Here's Eva Fragiscatos. Well, right now, if you are using that
And I
southbound
ain't playing.
400, no delays, no problems. All the
You
issues
try and put them in rehab. I'll bund the rehab down and bolt the doors shut with everybody in.
The construction there has cleared away. North 404, north of the 407,
Ain't
to
gonna
north
make
of
it 2
Highway
steps out
7.
the rehab.
Still have the left lane closed there. That's all because of construction. There is no delay at all. On the eastbound 401, busy Mississauga Road to Mavis, Islington to Weston, both express and collector
All you
lanes.
non-drug
And
users
looks like
thinking
the
you're going to be
westbound
the white
QEW at Winston
supremacist,
Churchill
Aryan
lane still
Brotherhood,
closed off
whatever,
that as well because of
Christian, whatever you
construction.
think
We have
you
that
are.
ongoing closure at the intersection of Goreway and Morning Star, so just keep an eye out for that. And also Dundas and Air
Take it
Mills,
from
that
you,
intersection,
try to
it's a
take it
single
from
lane,
us.
that's all because
Because
of
the
construction.
babysitting it.
At this time, though, I'm not seeing too
According
much
to
of
the
a delay in
Supreme
that
Court.
area.
Oh,
The
40
demonstrator
acres in the
event
mule.
is
Say, I
on
know.
now.
You
Alexis
send,
Richard Hill.
you
Shop
send
online
the
to view
government
these
issue. They
incredible
used to
offers in the
tell me
comfort of your own
that
home.
they're from the St.
Only at
Sign from. You heard Scottish.
Next report,
And you
641.
thought you saw red. When I said there was blood red hair, you
Cooler
stop.
for us today, just a slight chance of some showers right now. Strong gusty wind out of the west.
Oh, shut up. That's
southwest.
not
It's
true. That's
mostly
not
cloudy,
real.
16
I never said
degrees
nothing
at
about
Pearson,
40 acres in a
17
mule.
at 680
I don't know where that
The
came
guaranteed
from.
high today, just
Some of the
22.
Supreme Court
60
ruling.
news time, 6:32.
Canada.
Air appointment
You got a $2
booked.
trillion.
Patio reservation
2 million
made.
million.
Stage 2 of the
2,000,
pandemic recovery has
1,000.
finally arrived in Toronto and Peel region.
680's Kevin Meisner joins us live from the
I can do
Yorkville
math.
area.
That means I'm
He's
worth
looking
$3
out
million
for
on
a
average.
joint or something with the story.
Until we figure out who's the trustee of what, all I know is on average I should be worth about
Stage
$3
2
million.
does bring many
Their
gifts to
numbers.
Toronto and Peel region starting today. Talking about
Oh,
those
that only
haircuts,
applies
hair
to
salons,
what?
a pint on the patio,
Exactly.
taking the kids to a splash pad,
We never
even
give up
hitting
our
the
status.
shopping
We're not
mall if
franchised.
those
We
have
keep trying to
decided
say
to
I'm
open.
a franchise.
In many cases, Toronto is feeling a real sense of accomplishment after
never
months
agreed to
of
none of
lockdown.
It feels good. It feels like we're progressing. We've been through something pretty tough, and we've made it through to the next phase. So it gives us hope to get back to a sense of what was normality or the new normal.
Tiffany tells me she hopes to be able to have a face-to-face
Oh,
lunch
this is going
out
to be
today
this way
with her
forever.
friends here
No,
in the Yorkville
most
area.
people know how to
They're
not
starting to
spread
open up again.
diseases.
So I hope that social distance practices still take place at those patios. But yeah, it's nice to see your friends again and
Look at
family
where
members you haven't maybe seen in a
It's
while.
spreading the word.
Community centers can also
Where all
reopen
the
in Toronto
people
and Peel region
self-identify
today,
as
but of course
white
activities
and
will be
superior.
limited.
That's
Same
what
with
every
libraries.
single
Not all
one of those
stores and malls
places
will be open
identifies
either.
as white
And some
and
are going to be
superior.
sticking with
Go
their
check them all.
curbside pickup. Food courts also will be takeout
What
only.
about all the
You're being
Icelandic,
bored. Kevin Meisner,
Scandinavian,
680
North
News.
countries? Exactly. I said the ones that identify as
Breaking
superior.
news from Mayor Tory with a big
Look at
announcement on the reopening of the Toronto Islands. It comes as parents in the east
Brazil,
and west
US,
ends of the city
Italy,
are up early, ready to
Germany,
hit refresh on the
Mexico.
city's recreation
Oh,
side
no,
up
no,
sunny
do you identify as what? What do you identify as? Not black, not indigenous. Not Spanish. What the fuck are you then?
As soon as this weekend, John
We're
Tory confirmed the
Americans.
news
Just
as
like all
this
the
morning
other
with our sister
Americans, the
station
white guys
98.1
country, right? When they
CHFI,
took
that
the
ferry
Mohawk way
service
of
will
doing
get back
things,
to normal in just a matter
inverted
of
it and
days.
tricked you.
I'll be having a few words today
Oh,
at 8 o'clock this
democracy.
morning about the Toronto Island. I'll give you
Roman
a preview.
times.
We're
No
starting the ferry
consensus.
service on June the 27th. He says, given the restrictions on crowds, ferry operations will look a bit different with physical distancing in place, but I'll have more to say about that at this morning's announcement. This big part of summer
British
for
got here
so
in
many
1508. The
Torontonians
Spanish were here in
comes in line with another
1492.
because this morning is summer
How did the
camp
British get here in
registration for
1508?
parents in
If
York,
they hit
Scarborough, and
so
Etobicoke.
close to
Online
what
and
the
boat
fuck are you talking
registration
about?
gets
We were
going
in
in less
both
than
places.
half an hour. Well, the
We're the
8-week
same fucking
camps
people,
start on
stupid. We
July
don't know what
13th,
story you're
but this
talking
year less
about.
than half the
We don't
usual
look
amount
like
of
the people
spots
you
are available
described
thanks
killing
to
off, and the
COVID-19
island you
and some new
described
health and
don't
safety
match
guidelines.
nothing on the fucking
6 City News, 6
shoreline
City News
of the
time,
continental United States.
6:35. Major League Baseball has officially announced its return
Yes,
for
one
next
more
month.
question. Oh, that's
But as our
Colombo.
Simon Bennett tells
That's
us, a
just
lot has to
Colombo,
happen
right? That's
before the
another thing.
relaunch. Major League Baseball hopes to finally start the
Yeah,
season
do that
next month. The
Monster Truck
60-game
thing again,
schedule
bro.
beginning July 23rd
Oh, we can't
and
do that.
24th.
Why?
It doesn't give teams much
They
time
put
to
the button
prepare.
on every
The players
fucking
reporting to a second spring
mixer.
training next Wednesday at the team's main ballparks. The announcement comes with some trepidation as COVID-19 cases are on the rise across the U.S. and more positive tests reported amongst players yesterday.
Now, why aren't you all the United States of either Mexico or Colombia, British Columbia,
in terms of
Mexico,
going about
United
our daily
States of
lives
Mexico?
amid the pandemic.
What the
But
fuck?
in the baseball world, this is something completely different.
Right now,
Oh, you
border
perked
restrictions
yourself with the
prohibit the Blue
French. You
Jays
know
from
the
reporting to
French weren't
Rogers
there.
Center, so Vanal is expected to hold
French weren't
spring
ever
training
there. How the
2.0
fuck did you
at
buy
their
some?
spring
You
training
paid them to
facility in
leave.
Dunedin,
So
Florida. I'm Simon
it's
Bennett.
like they paid
6
the
City News
Mississauga to
time
leave Toronto. They
6:36.
didn't
Just
live
because
there.
salons and malls
Oh,
are
okay.
reopening
Well,
today
there's 6
doesn't
other
mean
nations.
they'll stay that way. 6 Cities Jamie
5,
Popper is
my
here
bad.
live
Right.
with a call to consider
Right.
loosening and
Almost
tightening
been here
pandemic
400 years.
restrictions as the crisis
Quebec
evolves.
City's
Jamie.
been here for 100
That's
years.
right, Catherine. Emerging
Just
from
Florida,
an
been here
unprecedented lockdown, so what happens
250.
next is equally unprecedented. But experts warn this is not the time to let your guard down. The physical distancing rule of 2 meters apart still a big part of our lives, even though that rule is being relaxed to 1 meter in places like the UK. Toronto infectious control expert Colin Furness tells City News mandatory mask wearing could also be a game changer.
I think we could keep a second wave under control. I think it might make the difference between little outbreaks here and there and widespread community spread of COVID.
The City of Guelph has a mask mandate, but there is no blanket rule here in Toronto, with only the TTC making masks mandatory starting July 2nd. But there is also something called dynamic distancing, ramping restrictions up and down with spikes in the virus in order to keep the economy going while containing those outbreaks. One expert calls this the least bad option. Others call it one of the best exit strategies from the pandemic lockdowns. Dynamic distancing is already happening in spots like South Korea and Taiwan.
It's not
Reporting live, Jamie Pulper, 6 City News.
Oh, so things go bad, they impose
A
restrictions.
tornado
That's
has been
not
recorded
new.
in the
That's
Cornwall
been
Lakes
happening
region
for
near
a long
Finland
time.
Falls. Environment Canada making the confirmation last night. Our meteorologist Jill Taylor says the tornado hit at Sturgeon Point at the corner of Irene Avenue and Lake Avenue around 3 yesterday afternoon.
The storm formed quite rapidly, no real time for any warning, and may have first formed over the lake as a waterspout and then moved quickly inland. But, of course, these are all things that Environment Canada still needs to investigate.
Jill says the tornado damaged a boathouse in the area. Environment Canada is asking residents to send in any videos, photos, or damage reports they have to help with the investigation.
This is 6
Where
City
do we
News.
send them?
Toronto police
Wow,
are
they're
investigating
useful.
after posters and stickers promoting white nationalism.
But you'll give us
appeared
this
on light
website
poles,
address, won't you?
transit shelters,
They're going to give
and
us the
parking meters
tagline that was on the posters and then tell us
CBC
to search
reports
the
the
internet.
posters
What?
and stickers were seen in the area of Dundas and Royal York Road this weekend. Staff now working to remove them. Officers are canvassing the neighborhood for witnesses and video.
Police also searching for a man believed to have been involved in 4 sexual assaults
Oh,
downtown.
you didn't repeat
The
it
alleged
this
incidents
time.
happened between
Caught
May
yourself
23rd and
this
June
time.
13th. In each case, an unknown man approached a woman, sexually assaulted her, and took off from the area. The suspect is described as Asian, in his 20s, about 5 feet 10, short black hair.
Yeah, we know that. We were hoping that nobody was
Apparently
listening.
involved as well. The description. Photos of the man are posted at
It's a swastika for
680news.com.
the corporate logo of the
A
company that
14-month
owns the
prison
radio
sentence
station.
has been handed
How
down
is
to
that
a man
legal?
who set up a fake
It's not technically
GoFundMe
illegal.
account
Alright.
for the Humboldt Broncos. Andre
Yeah, that's fine.
Olesiak was convicted in January of
You have to
fraud
name one
under
of the players.
$5,000 in possession of stolen property obtained by crime. The man raised about $3,900 after the April 2018 bus crash that killed 16 people. But instead of giving the money to the team, it was deposited into his personal account. During the sentencing, the 33-year-old also pleaded guilty to an investment fraud worth
At the stage,
$65,000
okay,
that
see,
took place
you keep
before
telling the story a
Broncos
different
fundraiser.
way every
This
fucking
is
time. At
680
the
News.
same,
It's the end of the
previously
line
pled guilty
for
to
the
it.
Segway.
It was clever. The Segway, introduced in 2001,
How do you
balancing
think it was
itself on two
clever?
side-by-side wheels, you standing in the middle.
Get ready to change
It's the
the way you
dumbest
think
fucking
about
thing in the
travel.
world.
But the personal transportation revolution it promised never arrived. The original $5,000 price tag was a major hurdle. And then there were the accidents, some cities banning them because users could easily lose control if they weren't balanced
George
properly.
W. Bush.
Now Segway hitting the brakes. The
Smash
company's
his head off
namesake
the
vehicle
ground.
will be retired on July 15th. Segway's
Well,
president
these
said
guys
the
can't
Segway
walk,
PT
they
last
can't
year
stand up. If
accounted
they
for less
do
than
drink or
1.5%
imbibe
of the
anything, they
company's
can't
revenue.
handle it.
Dave Packer, ABC
If
News.
they don't, they act like they do. Oh, I've never drank in my life. Oh, yeah, you act like you're drunk right now, so there's something wrong with your individual.
Go online, underline that, and stick it on your fridge. Because when you search for an all-new Subaru, they'll help you in all new ways. Especially if you're a newbie. Connect online or one-on-one for everything you need.
Wow,
Your
this
local
fucking
Subaru
sucks.
dealer has your back with great finance rates. Whatever they are, hashtag crushing it.
Oh,
Find
wow,
all new
that's so
ways to safely
funny.
shop at your Subaru dealer
Your
with rates
parents
from
don't know what
0.5%.
finance rates are.
680 News Time,
Well, that's not
641.
Time for 680 News. Traffic and weather together on the ones. And the
Keep taking the
guaranteed
road,
high
right?
just 22 degrees, 14 for the low. And tomorrow, a slight chance of showers up to our average high, 25. Right now, mostly cloudy, 16 degrees, very strong wind out of the west-southwest, and Pearson 17 at 680 News. Cloudy, the guaranteed high today, 22.
680 News Time, 643.
Now the Scotia iTrade Market Minute.
Over to Mike Apple at the 680 Business Center.
Good morning. Markets down a little bit this morning, giving back some of the recent rally. The Dow Futures Index is giving back
What the fuck?
275 points. The S&P Futures